Hello, friends. This is Giuliano, and it is a Monday. It's the 21st of March, 2022, and I'd like to share with you weekly price charts in this weekly roundup. We'll take a look across various charts and update from last week. So I'm going to share the screen, and we are going to get right into it. I hope you're doing well, and we'll start from the back end as well. Again, I mean, back end, front end, they go both ways. So we will start with RUNE. I guess I have a linear sense on my mind talking about back end and front end. Now, where are we in this chart? There's a good chance that we have room to go further. There's also a chance that it needs to pause. What are some of those reasons why I'm thinking that? Well, we were wondering in the previous week, last week, what would this candle close be like here? And it turned out to be quite a nice big candle to the upside, third green in a row, breaking through the downtrending resistance, reaching near to, well, firstly reaching the top of the Bollinger Band, so that became its first resistance, and also near this resistance zone up here. So there you have it. There's a chance that, you know, after you break out of one of these downtrending resistances, you might come down to test it. We broke out of the 20-week moving average without retesting it yet, so there is possibility that it will turn back down, retest before going higher. We have looming resistance above. However, there is also opportunity for a bullish maneuver. And that maneuver, you know, it could be another candle, maybe two more green ones, but even here, you know, you get a couple big ones, but ultimately, how much higher will it go? I think the next level will be roughly here. This kind of level here, if it's going there. But that's just my sense of it. Having said that, that could just be the beginning of the the correction before the next move up, or we could be starting that correction before the next move up. Nothing is evident yet. If we were to go down to lower time frames, we could take more of a look. But for now, just looking at it on a weekly, I'd say still bullish overall, but it could use some pause, even if it's just this 1 week of a either green or red spinning top type of candle, which is basically neutral, and continuation to the upside would follow. Okay, so I think that's it for RUNE. Yeah, overall it's strong, and it also has a lot of the talk of the town, increasing volume in this buying. So overall it's still very healthy, I would say. And yeah, there's a lot of how do you say, there are a lot of awareness moving towards RUNE right now. Okay, I think that's it for that price chart. I don't really have much else to say. Looking good, but watch out for some pausing, top of the Bollinger Band. And yeah, there you go. See if you can bust through this horizontal resistance. Next, we'll go to Atom price chart. On the weekly, still following this 20-week moving average. You see here getting support at the 20-week. And that's really all we have to say at this point. We're going to watch how it behaves off of this 20-week moving average. And that will tell us a lot. If it can't hold that in the next week or two, then it's going lower, and then it has to fight with the here we call Ichimoku cloud here. So we'll see how that all works. Yeah, it has a confluence with the uptrending support line, and already at this point it is being supported by the 20-week moving average. We'll see though, because look, here's my thinking. We went above it once, we got rejected at the uptrending resistance and at the top of the Bollinger Band. Coming down to the 20-week moving average, basically held it as support. A lot of wicks in this up move, and to the upside, the wicks, also some to the downside. So it was kind of mixed. And now we're coming back down already to the 20-week moving average without even having come this high. So that's relatively weak, although it could just be consolidating at these levels. before another move higher. So we'll see what happens. That's interesting for Atom, although momentum is relatively negative here. So we'll see what's going to happen over the coming weeks. This week might be a bit of a neutral one, or we're only Monday, so we could get some volatility one way or the other. And it'll be interesting to see how these are alt BTC charts, like Atom BTC. It'll be interesting how they respond to whatever BTC does, whether BTC goes up or down, or whether it consolidates a little bit longer. That could determine how they behave, the altcoins behave against BTC. Right. All right, now we are going to move away from this chart into the Luna chart. Luna last week, did have a negative week, a red week, but if you look at the wick action on this short term, the wick got its support at the previous resistance levels. So that's pretty strong, and that's pretty good, and that's expected. However, now the big question is, will there be continuation, or is this just the beginning of a bounce that turns over? And maybe it takes a few weeks, and maybe it just goes sideways. Maybe it stays up at these levels against BTC and just goes sideways until it reaches that level, or maybe goes sideways, pops down, and then comes back up. We're going to watch the 20-week moving average as well, and how the price makes its way in relation to Bollinger Bands and this 20-week moving average. Ichimoku Cloud is some months away. And yeah, and then we have just this main level here as support. The next zone would be here. Okay, so that's basically it for Luna. We could have some red candles and green candles and red candles that eventually lead to a sideways maneuver. Then again, we could have one of these suckers to bring us down, at least here. And any breakdown of this lower trending support line here, any breakdown of this would signal a lot of potential pain. Okay, well, we'll see how this is going to go over the next coming weeks. Yeah, we're just starting from the top of this RSI to get back into the below the 70 level. Well, we are already there, but I guess what I mean is after the high in December here, we're coming back towards. I thought it had gone over, it didn't. So we are just possibly getting rejected. Might not even go oversold. And if we do go overbought. And if we do go overbought, that still doesn't change the potential for the divergence. So definitely you got to just keep watching out for that as well. Okay. So just keep watching out for any divergence in play. But I think because of the histogram potential divergence here as well. Yeah, you got 1, 2, 3 of them, big ones, and 3 pushes higher. That's generally in a market cycle for an up or down move. That's generally what you get, it seems. However, we're still in this one, so who knows how long it's going to take to really yield the results of like a more cascading negative momentum. We'll see. We'll see if that comes to that. I'm really curious to see how the Luna price chart is going to go by the time we reach, let's say, May, June, July timeframe here, because then that would lead us there. If we were to walk our way sideways, getting the support, then we're here by May. Okay, that's it for Luna against BTC. Next, we'll check out MATIC, Polygon, MATIC BTC price chart. And yeah, interestingly, okay, how can we see a little closer? So comparatively, Luna had 3 of these moves up. MATIC only had 2. MATIC already has played through a full round of this and has demonstrated that we are in negative bearish divergence. And so we got more negative price behavior, but who knows where it's going to go now. It's already gone through quite some negativity through this corrective move and this corrective move. The question is going to be, is there more of a future for MATIC, or is it going to need to really break down further and take some time? When I say is there a future, I mean, like, is there a future pump for MATIC? Maybe that pump is just going to the top of the Bollinger Band. Maybe that pump is just going to the 20-week moving average. I mean, that in itself, just for fun, would be another, well, only 15%. That doesn't seem likely if you're going to get a pump, like a proper one. Anyway, that's my point. You might not get a proper one. You might just kind of find this support. We're here at the Ichimoku cloud, okay? We're here at the Ichimoku cloud. So basically the price slowed its momentum downwards, landing onto this Ichimoku cloud. And yeah, there was a bit like, look, you got some support, a bump up here off the 20-week, and then some sideways action, uncertainty 20-week, and then some more choppy around the 20-week, and then we proceed lower. Find some support at this Ichimoku cloud. I get the sense that that could be a reasonable thing, but yeah, it all depends on the BTC. And again, this Ichimoku cloud area is confluencing with these previous resistance levels. So let's see how this all works together, and what does MATIC do going forward. This is all logarithmic scale, so it does have opportunity to, like we've talked about before, does have opportunity to correct here, especially if Bitcoin is going to at some point rocket higher. A sideways valuation against BTC is reasonable during a BTC major pump up. So we'll see what this ends up playing out. Okay. Yeah, interesting chart, but there's room for rebounding, but at this point, the risk to reward might not be as clear just yet. I mean, technically, you could be looking at these type of levels here. So that would be the risk down here, and the reward, maybe it's here, maybe it's here. I don't think it goes super bull just yet. So that means let's just play risk reward game. This is going to take the, where is it? Sorry, we'll do a long position because it would be to the upside, and we'll take it from about there. So already this is a 1-to-1 ratio. If it goes here, it would need to go here, and you still only get a 1.72 at the top of the Bollinger Band. So at this point, it's not quite in the favor. A nice support at the 20-week moving average feels better as in terms of risk reward, because then you could cut it below the 20-week moving average. I guess here risk reward, if you really wanted to play that though, is to cut it below the Ichimoku cloud. So I guess in one way, the risk reward is more clear if we want to use the Ichimoku cloud as the risk, so that we say, look, if it gets below this Ichimoku cloud, that's not a good sign. And it's starting to really breach this price action here. It could be just going further down. And so, yeah, that could be your risk. In that case, let's say you're here, you bring your risk up to the Ichimoku cloud, and then you're in a really good position. Even here, this 15% gives you a nice risk reward of 2.5, maybe 3, if we want to get more specific about the actual entry exit prices and all of that stuff. So yeah, I guess technically here, you've got a decent 2.5 to 1. If you want to play up to the Bollinger Band, why not? Okay. None of this financial advice, but anyway, there's probably better things out there, is my sense of it for now. Like, I guess the other risk reward part is, yeah, are you breaking down below this uptrending support line? So you do have a good, I misspoke. You have a good, clear risk reward. And in fact, why not take it? Because it is a good risk reward where it doesn't take much price action to the downside to determine that, yep, that's not the right trade. Long is not the right trade at this time until there's a better risk reward. Okay. Anyway, that's the general sense I get from MATIC. That was a longer one than I expected. Okay, here we go. Next chart is Avalanche. A lot of Avalanche lovers out there, friends of AVAX. And they are looking at the price, potentially pulling a distribution at the top of the market, or they are watching the clearing out of negative momentum, which will lead to moves higher. We are at the top of the Bollinger Band here. Well, it's quite narrow, I must say. Bollinger Band's so narrow. Maybe it gets to previous highs here, top of the Bollinger Band, but already it's, wow, it's flirting with this 20-week. So at least it's back above. It's back above. That's a strong sign. Narrowing Bollinger Bands are going to narrow even more if it can hold some sort of sideways move. But either this becomes a distribution, or maybe it becomes a massive reaccumulation and price shoots higher to the upside. The other option is maybe some sort of reach for liquidity, but it fails and then it goes further down. But we got the one, we got the other, we've got this one. Where is it going to go if it can't breach this level? That's no good, and that's probably going down. And then you're probably getting a bounce, and then you're probably going down further. But anyway, the timing of it is not what I meant to draw. Like, I'm not saying it's coming down this week and all the way down there. In fact, you know, against Bitcoin, this thing could hold these levels pretty nicely, and that would fit. That would work. Why not? Especially if it has enough. Look, it's going through this negative momentum, and the only problem is you got your MACD and your signal all the way up here. Even these things are looking like they want to make a head and shoulder. So yeah, it's going to go up, but then it's going to come back down. It's just not clear. It's just not clear at this time. Maybe it does go green, okay, in the histogram, and then you've got a good case for bearish divergence, especially if the price goes higher than previous highs. But I guess that's what you'd be wanting, and that would be a good trade because you'd be going higher and you'd have a general sense of when to get out based on momentum. That's possible. Okay, so that's Avalanche for you, really holding this level here of, what is it, 175,000 so nicely. Yep, good stuff. Avalanche looking very strong. Next, I think we're going to move over to Solana. Yes, we are. Solana. Sol. Well, interestingly, looks like it's breaking that downtrend. So that's a positive note. Still at the lower end of the Bollinger Band. Still at, well, and we're still in this week. So who knows? Like, this is Monday and we'll see what can happen here. But yeah, we're going to be, unless there's a significant move, sizable move up, it looks like it'll be breaking through the Ichimoku cloud, and it will then be below the Ichimoku cloud structure that is currently forming. The good news is that a lot of the negative momentum has already been put in to the price action. So that's a good positive thing. And a good question to ask is whether the price will ever even reach down here. Will it reach down to this box, or can it find its way above at the Ichimoku cloud again? Pattern-wise, this doesn't really look like anything yet. And so we'll see soon enough, though. It's either going to turn around to the upside before continuing the trend down, or it'll find some way to go sideways, whether it's above or below. But yeah, the general sense is when these things, they turn to the downside, they take a while to complete. I think we've gone over this before, but if we look at this full up move, even just to here, and then it starts going sideways. For this thing to complete one-to-one, we'd be looking for the May timeframe. And in that case, it definitely could make its way down to this level. The other option is, again, that, yeah, it could pop up above here at some point, and when it's ready, it'll go higher. That's totally possible. And we might be in, it doesn't look like it. Anyway, we'll see what it is. It's going to be some huge zigzag to the upside, then we're only in the B wave now. In that case, it would probably be a longer correction. I don't think so, though. It's not generally how these BTC charts move, but Solana and some of the others are quite interesting. It's been interesting to see, for example, Avalanche and Solana put this type of shelf in. Same thing with like BNB, reminds me of BNB. So anyway, okay, I'm gonna move over. I don't have much else to say about Solana other than it's flattening out at the lower end of the Bollinger Bands. So that's positive. All right. Yeah, that's positive. It reduces the sense that it's going to go straight down to this level. It probably would go up first, and then we would see what happens. All right, we'll see. Okay, interesting. Solana. Next, FTN taken a beating. It has. Was up in the 7,500 Satoshis level. Now down at the 3,000. But last week it did catch a nice support right at the first level zone. So we'll see. This is a bit more of an intermediate candle, but we've seen it as a turnaround candle before, right here. So yeah, there's nothing stopping this from turning to the upside. However, we are here. We were turning relatively positive in our momentum, whereas here we are negative now. But will it start turning relatively positive here? That's possible, but I don't know. We will see soon enough, I guess. Like the others, lower end of the Bollinger Bands, coming towards this Ichimoku cloud stair step here. I don't see why the price can't push up to this like 4,200 level, 4,100 level, or 4,000 level, wherever the 20-week moving average is going to be at the time. And then just make the lower high and go further. That's possible. Yeah, let's see what happens. A move to this 20-week is reasonable, but and again, you could still have some good risk reward. You could use this level. Well, at this point, you could use this wick, but you know, as a level that says no, we've broken down and it's time to get out. So yeah, anyway, something to think about. Solana price, sorry, FTM price is not looking as flat as Solana price. That's what I'm enjoying about watching these different price charts, because they are creating different shapes, which speaks differently about the markets that are participating, or like the price action, how it's going. So interesting. That's FTM, and yeah, I don't really have a specific direction one way or the other yet. We'll see how this looks going forward. Next, oops, that's not what I want to do. Next, we are going to look at DOT against BTC. All right, DOT. So yeah, just like some of the others, similar to FTM in that sense, or even Solana, let's say, we're near the lower end of that Bollinger Band. And this one, though, has had more time to go sideways. So that looks like some supportive action. And yeah, that's strong enough. Nothing yet is convinced. Okay, we could still go down to these lower levels here. But the thing is that we might go up first before we go down again. I don't know how much we would go up, maybe again to this 20-week moving average. We'll see. We will see. But anyway, stick around for more. The good thing here is we've got relatively positive momentum brewing. So, however, the momentum is not always the indicator of the price. It can be, and that can be helpful. But depending on the trend, it could mean nothing. I mean, just be getting relatively positive momentum, and the price could still be going down. It's interesting like that. Okay. In fact, we can see it on some other charts, but first we're going to move to the next one, which is, yeah, so that's about it. We've reached this support level, and let's see if we breach lower or if this becomes our overall support for this move, which in that case would be relatively bullish. You'd have this low, then a higher low, then an even higher low. Unfortunately, based on the breaking down of this trend line, it's like this move is not a trend. And in that sense, it's over and it's going in this way. But because of that, you know, it doesn't have to do anything to the downside major just because you're below this trend. So we're going to see how this plays out. I'm going to now move on to the next chart. We're good with this for now. Yeah. All right, that's DOT against BTC. Now to everyone's favorite bad boy, XRP against BTC. This thing is squeezing tight. We looked at it previously, and yeah, we don't have much else to report. Hanging strongly above this 20-week moving average, pretty tight Bollinger Bands, and a very inviting Ichimoku cloud within these next coming months. So let's see how XRP does. Ooh, could you keep this positive momentum going? That would be lovely. Let's see. Let's see how we do with XRP. Next, Link against BTC. Link against BTC still, okay, we got a nice bounce last week off of the sorry, we're still below the 200 weekly moving average. We got it off of this price zone here, okay, off this previous support zone. So the question is, how much higher does it go? Does it go to the 200-week moving average or to the 20-week moving average? Does it meet them when they death cross in that sense? I know this might not be officially called a death cross because it's the 20 and the 200, but for me, they are very significant moving averages. And so if you start getting the 20-week crossing the 200-week and the price is below both of them, is a tough scenario at this current point for the Link price chart. So you're gonna have to watch where can it go? Is this going to be enough of a support zone? Or is it going to get rejected by that 200-week moving average, 20-week moving average? It might not even get a chance to get to that 200-week moving average if it only hits the 20-week, you know, over there, or I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see how this works. And when we look at the momentum, I mean, it could use a move up, but I don't know how big that would be. Maybe it would just be to this like 45 or 50 level. Yeah. Same thing here, and you could get some positive momentum. But how much would it be, and what would the price be doing in relation? So we'll see. Chainlink taking a beating right now. Overall, the price chart is still macro bullish, you could say, but that's only because of the current higher low. If we start breaching this level here that we're at, question becomes then how much of a retrace does it need? How much of a retracement does it need? And in that sense, like we are just below the 50% retracement. And it might even just get that, just hang around this level before going lower. Crypto is known to go down to 78.6 levels, and that means all the way down here. So we'll see what this ends up looking like in terms of a corrective move, but this thing here doesn't scream bullish yet, that's for sure. Well, you know, and this in the more local term. Okay. Longer term, it remains to be seen. We don't know yet. We really don't, not based on this chart. But the sense is, yes, more bullish than bearish. Okay. Still though, might not want to be in it until it's more clear. Not financial advice, but seems like it's pretty sound advice. Okay, BNB against BTC. Ooh, Still hanging around this horizontal mid-level of the box and just finding a nice support, although we have broken down this uptrending support line. So this is another case of the price breaking below this uptrending support line, but doesn't mean it has to crash down. It could go sideways. However, we are now also at the lower end of the Bollinger Band. So sideways is the safe play, you know, sideways up, whatever, chop, because anything starting to go lower and you risk expanding that Bollinger Band to the downside. So my overall sense is that this is a really good support level for BNB, and let's see what happens. Let's see if the price can support it. If it does, that is super bullish, right? Obviously. Goes without saying. You start narrowing the Bollinger Bands, maybe you can get well, it doesn't even matter when you get above the 20-week. It's just you could consolidate further. Maybe, well, this is a weekly chart, so it might only need 2, 3, 4 more candles. Who knows what's going to happen? Maybe it needs 8, but it could base here. It definitely could base here. So that'll be interesting to watch on BNB. And then, of course, we have this Ichimoku cloud down here for support, but let's see if this can hold first. Okay, well, it'll be interesting 1 or 2 months coming up, especially when we start going closer to that Bitcoin price chart. Wow, it is quite the choppy play, but on a weekly basis, it looks like it's just basing. It looks like it's just hanging out there. There you go. So here we have the origin trail price chart. We got the push higher out of this very narrowing wedge that we had formed here. And yeah, good support at the lower end of the Bollinger Band, but didn't even have to touch it. And it didn't even touch the 200-week moving average yet, but we'll see where the price action goes from here. It's a good sign to begin with. And yeah, not unexpected. In fact, I would have been very curious to see what would have happened if it didn't happen this way. Some sort of push higher. Okay, so it's at a decent level, but not out of the woods yet. I'm looking at the top of this box as the first resistance, and then the 20-week moving average as the second resistance. I don't know if the price is going to get back over this Ichimoku cloud before it crosses this time period, which is basically May time period. So it'll be very interesting to see how these price action are behaving in May and leading up to May, obviously. Okay, cool. That's origin trail track against BTC. Next is DERO, another interesting price chart to watch. Unfortunately, it looks like this was more distribution, and we are now below the 20-week moving average. We are now looking for support actually at the previous resistance trend line, downtrending line, and also at the Ichimoku cloud. But the negative thing is it's below the 20-week moving average. So let's see what happens this week and the next week, but there's a chance that it is going to go lower. It also is supporting roughly around this previous support resistance zone. But yeah, it looks more and more like this level is next down here. But we'll see. You never know. You can get this Ichimoku cloud support. You can get changes in the market sentiment. And in fact, this could just be a first leg of a move higher. We are at the 61.8% retracement now, roughly. So if it is going to be that sort of thing, where it is going higher, then we would really want to see it support here and take off relatively soon in the next week or two. So that'll be a sign, but probably the price will move before we know this with certainty. It's a pretty decent level here, and but at this point, we just want more clarity, in my opinion. Okay, especially you're just starting some more negative momentum relatively here. So yeah, let's watch it. Okay, that's DERO price chart. ICX against BTC. Anything relatively fun here for us? Oh, come now. I don't see you. Okay, ICX. Oh, there you are. Okay. No, nothing really fun there for us. Oops. We might have a little problem. There we go. Okay, down to you. Come on, friend. We're so close to the end. Let me just quickly, if I can, get this thing going again. Here we go. Anyway, I hope this is doing well for you. We've got a few more charts left. We've got THETA, we've got Pirate Chain, we've got KMD, and we've got BTC. So I hope I can get through this. I'm just refreshing the page here. Okay, here we go. We get to, oh, we also have ADA. I didn't see ADA. So where am I? Here I am. And where's the share screen? It's right here. Thanks for bearing with me. If you were smart, you would have just fast forwarded until you see this again. And let's get into THETA price chart. Yeah, same thing. Finding a nice base at this previous resistance level. Not much else to say. It's just itching for some positive momentum here. So yeah, THETA looking good. THETA looking good overall compared to some. However, it's all dependent on the BTC and what the rest of the market sentiment ends up to be. So we'll see how this works, okay? Looking good on the THETA compared to some of those others. Next, we are looking at ADA. ADA also made a bounce to the upside after finding support a little bit, nearly a tweezer type of candle. Anyway, we made it back to the midway point of our rectangle, which was previous turnaround price action here. And here, although you did get wicks all the way to the top, so we'll see, but I'm not sure how much more volatility will come from ADA. It looks like you could get a bit more relatively positive momentum. Let's see, a strong move would bring it all the way back to this 20-week moving average, which is around the 2,600 Satoshis level, previous support here. So that's possible. But having said that, maybe it's all going to depend on what the rest of the market does at this point. ADA is similar to the rest of the market, and it will go in that direction. Now, having said that, there's really good value in terms of the trend and the potential to turn it around. And so the sentiment was there, and the price action is showing us that. Oops. The other thing is, when we look at this momentum, yeah, it's not quite clear. However, it doesn't have to go oversold. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, good luck, Ada. Next, we are moving over to the Komodo and Friends. We've got the Pirate Chain. Oh yeah, with the Pirate Chain, it did make its way up to the upper end of the Bollinger Band and start expanding those Bollinger Bands. We're not sure though if we're going to continue seeing upward momentum, or if we're just going to, be creating a momentum. It might not even go that high like this. It might need to see sideways first. I don't know, but based on the counting and the other things, it's like it would benefit the price action, would benefit the shape of the chart to make a nice flat pattern on a macro level. But that's not guaranteed. And in that case, just beware. The one thing I'm not a huge fan of is this price action here, right here in this week's candle, this price action trading into this price action. It's not so clean. However, it's okay. It's okay if we're just going to keep going up, then it's not so bad. So that's the only thing. We could be at the resistance locally, and we might need to come back down. And then that means this pattern here is not leading us higher. It will be consolidating further before we can hope to go higher. So that's the general sense of getting here on power chain. I hope that was clear enough. We're going to need to see in the next week or two, we're going to need to see a further move to the upside. Otherwise, that's going to really signal slow down to this up move. Okay. Yeah. Yep, definitely. We'll see how this goes. Less and less momentum is the sense I'm getting right now. Okay. But that, you know, part of that is just based on the fact that one candle gets you this much and 3 candles gets you this much, which is not even as much. One candle got you that much, 3 candles barely got you. Okay, yeah, they did get to the same one. So it barely got you a bit more than that. So that's a loss of momentum. That's okay. That's okay. All right, now we move on. KMD, we're looking to see it moved up into the 1200s again, heavily resisting the move downwards towards 1,000 Satoshis at this purple line down here. Instead, is grinding at the lower end of the Bollinger Band, grinding at this, you know, basically support line here last week. It got the price down to here, made the lowest low ever in price action. So we'll see. It has rebounded since, and you know, time is going to tell. We are reaching very near to this. Well, let's connect it a bit better if we want to use that. And if we want to connect more, we want to connect all of those like that. Basically, we are near. I don't know exactly when, but you know, we've got narrow Bollinger Bands and we are at this ending of the narrowing. So we'll see which way this goes. That's very, very interesting. And here you have price continuing to have like positive momentum on the histograms, but it's going down in price if you look at it here. So that's kind of what I meant earlier. Okay, now having said that, it looks like momentum wise, this thing, you know, it could be green for a while if it wants to get stronger, or maybe it needs to go red a little bit and then gets green. I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see how this chart plays out in the next coming months as well. Also, the Ichimoku cloud keeps dropping lower and lower at the top end, now at around 5,200 Satoshis, 5,300 Satoshis. So, and that's at the previous support here, resistance here. So let's see. Interesting times for the KMD price chart, for all these altcoin price charts against BTC. And speaking of which, here comes the BTC price chart. Not much to say other than what a big bullish candle last week, right to the top of the Ichimoku cloud. Couldn't close above the cloud, but now we are above the cloud based on the shape of the cloud. So it'll be a really interesting week to see what happens. Do we have enough to make it to the 45,000 and tap the 20-week moving average? We'll see. This is a pretty strong zone here of resistance around the 42, 43 level. Yeah, and then there's definitely room to go to the downside with some wick action, 39s, 38s. But watch out down here for like the 36, 35 to 34 level at the lower end of the cloud. Not to try and be bearish or anything, but yeah, it's hard to be bearish, you know. There's this increasing positive momentum, relatively positive momentum, potential divergences, bullish divergences. No, that's the convergence. That would be a divergence. So yeah, let's see what happens with the Bitcoin price chart. It's tough to say based on the price action. If this is going to be a C wave of a 5-wave impulse, sorry, a C wave of a flat pattern, it would be a 5-wave impulse move, and in which case we might have a bit more down and up and down to go. And in which case that would, I mean, this area of this Ichimoku cloud is incredible. I can't wait to see how this plays out as well. And we're going to wait. We're going until about the 25th of April is this area here. Anyway, that's it for me. I don't really have much else to say. I think I've talked way more than I expected. I hope this has been helpful for you. Stick around for more weekly roundups and then also more of the specific price charts. And then until next time, yeah, wishing you all the love, peace, and happiness you can manage. Goodbye.